Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Visconti, and this is the Blue Ripple. We have a Visconti St Basil. We have a Krusac Legend 16 in the Dragon Slayer. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove, a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in Shiny Circles. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. We have a Yardo lead, and this is the Grand Viceroy in the Victorian. We have a Yardo lead Grand Viceroy in the Barley. We have a Visconti. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the Striped Zebra, and then we have a Montegrappa Extra Otto, and this is in the Pearl Grey. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail. So this one is the Visconti Blue Ripple. I did have this inked up last week. It is a beautiful pen. It holds a lot of ink, around 2.5 milliliters of ink. It is a really nice pen. I do love writing with it. It is a silver overlay with this metallic blue that you can see there, with this cracked ice white going on. You can see there it says Visconti and then Ripple. Now this does come in the Blue Ripple, which is this model. It comes in the Black Ripple, and I think it also comes in another colour as well. Beautiful pen. It's an older Visconti. It is quite a weighty pen as well. It is a pen that I do like writing with. It is a power vac filler. You do get the double reservoir ink window. It's the older 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. This is a medium nib. Can I post the cap? I can, but it is very back weighted. This cap weighs a lot. It weighs almost as much as the pen, I want to say. It's a beautiful pen though, and I really do like it. I'm glad that I did buy it when I did. Do I want the Black Ripple? Probably not. If they came out with other colours on this, then maybe I might go for that. I'm still thinking about some of the newer watermarks, but I don't know. I love my watermark as it is, but I'm not sure that I need a load more watermarks. And the watermark from Visconti isn't that cheap. Likewise, the Blue Ripple isn't that cheap either. But typically, a lot of the watermarks are actually more expensive. The next pen I have inked up is this beautiful pen. This is very similar to the Visconti Speakeasy. It is a celluloid material. It's made out of this lovely red, black, blue, purple sort of material. The difference is that this one has a gemstone on it. It is a real gemstone. It's a red ruby there, and that does sparkle there, you can see. It also has this gold inlay as well, and this is of St Basil, and you can see that there. It is a power vac filling pen, so it does hold, again, around 2.5 milliliters of ink. It's got a double reservoir. It's got the ink window there. And it's got a 23 karat palladium nib there. It's a medium nib. Beautiful pen. The cap is not designed to be posted, and I wouldn't want to on this. It's just a beautiful pen. So I have that one. I did have it inked up last week. I have it inked up this week as well. Now the next pen here is this one, and it's a Ryan Krusac pen. And if you don't know, Ryan Krusac is a custom pen maker in the US. He makes a lot of pens out of wood and also out of sort of this beautiful white material. And this is antler. It's not. It looks like it's ivory. It's not. It is antler. And no animals were killed to make this. It was just that this is material that has been found, that he then buys up, so it's certified in that way. The cap here is made of wood, and this has a beautiful sort of inscription going on there in terms of feathers. You then also have this laser etched dragon there, hence the dragon, and also the Slayer there. Now, Ryan doesn't actually lacquer these. He prefers the antler and the wood actually to remain sort of natural. So you can feel the laser etching here. It really does feel. You've also got to be careful because obviously your hand oils, any ink that you might have on your fingers will stain these pens. So that's just something to bear in mind. Make sure you do have inkless fingers when you use it. Now, this has quite a thick section, which I do like, and it has a medium Ryan Krusac laser etched nib there. It is a Yovo nib, and also it's a cartridge converter pen, and I'll show you that there as well. So I do like this a lot, and I do still want another Ryan Krusac. There is a lot of threads there, but that doesn't bother me, honestly. I want to make sure that my pen is actually fully screwed in, and whether or not it's a section into the body or the cap onto the body. But this is a beautiful pen. I have to say that I really like it, and I will at some point pick up another Ryan Krusac pen. I don't know if I'll pick it up from maybe a UK seller that has some like St John's pens, or whether or not I will probably get it from. I probably will get it from Ryan direct, but I will have a look and see what other models he has. I think there's probably one or two models that do currently speak to me, so who knows? We'll wait and see. The next pen inked up is a pen I had inked up last week, a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. This is in the stacked celluloid. Unfortunately, long sold out for new. You can still pick these up from time to time on the used market. This was an exclusive from Montegrappa made for Goulet, and you'll see there it says 14 of 80. So only 80 of these were made, and actually I want to say 80. Is that 80? Yes, it is 80. I was horribly thinking it might have been 50 actually. But it looks as though it is an 80. But this is a beautiful pen. It's stacked celluloid. It's silver trims, which will polish up. It will tarnish over time or become dull. It does have the celluloid section on, which I really do love. I really hated to start with the silver section and having it tarnished. But now that I've got some Montegrappas, I don't mind that so much. And I actually enjoy polishing them. So I remember when I was talking to Brian when this one came out, I said I really love that you got the section in the celluloid, because I absolutely hate the silver sections. But now, and this is probably what, 3 or 4 years on, it doesn't bother me. So how your tastes will change over time. This has a number 8 size Montegrappa Dove of Peace nib there. It is a piston filling pen. I can post the cap, but as you'll see there, it doesn't actually post beyond the piston knob. So if you were to sort of twist it, you might start twisting that piston knob. So I don't typically post pens that have, or caps that on pens that have a piston knob, just in case. The next pen here is again another Montegrappa. It's the Bartolomeo Ferracina. And Bartolomeo Ferracina was a clock manufacturer, and there you have the clock. Now, one thing I do need to mention is that in non-European versions of this Bartolomeo Ferracina, and I think this is mostly in the US or North America, you do not have this clock. Basically what you do is you can unscrew this, but you basically have this clock here without the actual clock face. Let me try and screw this back on and not talk at the same time. Yeah, so basically you'll have this here, but you will not have the clock. It will just be a celluloid end, which is a shame, because I think the clock really makes it look nice. And I also think that if you're going to call a pen by a clock manufacturer, then then you should have a clock there. So I don't know what the reason behind that was for the US versions of this pen to not have that watch or clock face there, but it is what it is, I guess, unfortunately. And I'm glad I got one with a clock face. So I got the European or Italian version. But this is a beautiful stacked celluloid. You can see there, it really, really does shine. So just like the extra 1930s Shiny Lines Dove, again, similar celluloid. It's just it goes round the pen rather than up the pen. But beautiful, beautiful material. Solid silver trims as well, or sterling silver trims. And then you've got, again, another number 8 size Montegrappa nib, medium nib. Montegrappas come with an ebonite feed. It is a piston filling pen. Now this one does post a lot more deeply. So you can post this. It goes and posts beyond the piston filling knob. I typically, though, still don't like to post it because you are essentially posting onto celluloid here. I don't want to mar the finish of the beautiful celluloid. I don't really want to find that I've got micro scratches there. You're always going to get micro scratches, I know, if you're using a pen, if it's in and out of a pen case, if it's on your desk, you're going to get micro scratches. But I would prefer not to have them on the ends of the pens. So that's typically why I will not post a piston filling pen. The next pen here, again, is a beautiful Visconti last Templar Jacques de Molay. I did have this inked up last week. It's a beautiful, beautiful pen. It's got this exquisite chainmail on it there that you can see. It's a beautiful design. I'm in awe at some of these pens on how they're designed. Like how much work must have gone into this from, I guess, proper silversmiths that made this pen for Visconti. Absolutely stunning pen. This one actually comes with a sword or a dagger and also a ring as well. It is a power vac filler, so it's not a piston, it's not a cartridge converter, and you have this chalice here that you can see as the power vac filling knob. I always have trouble getting this blind cap back on for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because it's a single thread. And if I unscrew the cap here, you'll see there it's got a number 6 size Visconti 23 cap palladium nib. It does have a white feed which will stain, so typically that's why I prefer grey ink. It will stain still, but it's just not going to stain as bad as maybe a blue ink or a red ink. I understand why Visconti actually put a white feed on this pen, because of obviously that they wanted the rest of the like ivory look of the pen, but in terms of colour, but I still think it would have been better with a black feed on that pen. That's my opinion anyway. The next pen here, inked up today, is a Yada lead. Now, I did pick this up in 2022. This is a used pen, and I've actually been buying quite a few used pens lately. I bought some Montegrappas. I bought this Yada lead. It's a beautiful pen. It's the Grand Viceroy Victorian from Yada lead, and there's, I think, 3,500 hammer strikes that creates this pattern in the silver. It is AG925 silver, and you'll see there silver section. It has a number 6 size nib from Yada lead. This is a fine nib. It is a cartridge converter, and you can see that there. This is not the original converter. When I bought this, it didn't actually come with the converter, so I've just added a converter to it. But this is a really beautiful pen. It is a click a cap. It's not a threaded cap. Typically, I prefer threaded caps. I'd say like 95% or more of my pens are threaded caps. So they're screw caps. This is a beautiful pen. It's been a pen that I wanted to add to my collection for a very, 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 very long time, and I'm glad that I saw this. And a lot of people do message me and say, "Wow, your collection is really nice. Uh, how have you come across all these beautiful pens?" And I'd have to say that most of the pens that I come across are pure luck. It's being in the right place at the right time, or looking at the right place at the right time. This pen I've wanted since I think 2017. It's now 2022. So that's 5 years later. I finally managed to pick this pen up. So I'm really glad that I did. But sometimes you just have to wait a little bit. Sometimes you go off of these pens as well. This one I didn't. At the same time, though, I was lucky to also pick up this one. So like a bus, you don't get a bus or a train come along and then two or three come along at the same time. And I saw this one, and I remember messaging a few of my friends and saying, "Hey, look, I need to pick up both of these, because having just one of these in my collection, to me, just feels weird. Just showing it on its own, or seeing it on its own in a pen tray. But having two, or having a pair, essentially makes it look nice. So this is basically, again, the Yardeled Grand Viceroy, and this is in the Barley or Barley Corn, Barley for short. Again, it's a solid silver, or AG925 silver. It's a click clap, and also you've got a silver section there. You've got a Yardeled number 6 size nib there, and this one is a medium. This one was a fine, and if I unscrew, you do have the green Yardeled converter in this one, so this one did come with a converter. I am actually liking the medium nib a little bit more than the fine, so I keep thinking I might actually swap these over at some point. These are beautiful pens. I typically have not been a person that has liked solid silver or solid gold, or solid looking or gold plated but gold looking pens. But I have to say that these are works of art, and they are also probably, I think these ones are about anywhere between 10 and 20 years old. So for me, I do like that, and I have added those to my collection this year. Now, another pen here is a Montegrappa. It's an Extra 1930. It's a celluloid, and it's the striped zebra, and this is a beautiful, beautiful material. You can see the chatoyance there as I turn or twist that pen. Very, very nice. Again, and it was another pen that I picked up around a similar time frame, actually, second hand. It already had at least one owner. I say at least, I think it's just one, but you never quite know when it's used. But this is a beautiful number 8 size Montegrappa medium nib, silver section, and it's a piston filling pen. I can post the cap, but it's not going to post past the piston knob, so you do need to be a bit careful when posting it and removing it. I find, honestly, the size of this pen in my hands, I've got fairly chunky hands, and I do find that this actually feels quite nice in the size of my hands. So I have that one inked up this week as well. And then the final one is a Montegrappa. This is not the Extra 1930 model, it's the Extra Otto, or I think sometimes they call it the number 8 or Magic 8 or 8 ball. So it's basically a faceted pen, and you can see there it has a different cap band to what the Extra 1930 has. But I do like the facets on the Extra Otto. I really would like some more Extra Ottos. I really love this grey pearl or pearl grey celluloid that is here. And again, it's a solid silver section, selling silver. And it's a number 8 size Montegrappa medium nib. Again, piston filling pen. Now this one, if I show you here, this one actually posts way deeply over that piston knob. So this is what I would say a pen that you can post the cap on if you wanted to. I do find though that this still is a bit back weighted because of the weight of that cap band there, but I find I don't have to post this cap because it is actually a good size in my hand. But I know a lot of you do like to post your caps because sometimes you lose your caps, or you just want to know where the caps are, or you just feel it balances the pen a lot better. So that's my Kony ink pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen I have inked up this week is the Visconti Blue Ripple. So I think let's do an ink swatch here. And this is quite a nice wet writing pen. I do find this ink is quite viscous. It does have a nice sheen to this ink as well. So this is the Visconti Blue Ripple. It is a medium, and it is an 18 karat gold nib. It's the older 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. The ink in here is diamine, and it is majestic blue, which I find is a nice blue sheening ink. Very, very dark blue, but it's a nice sheening colour. The next pen is the Visconti St Basil, and we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is my favourite red ink by far, but as you know probably from previous Kony inks, I've got another red coming up fast behind. So this is the Visconti St Basil, and it is a medium, and it is a 23 karat palladium nib, and then the ink in here is Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. Now I find this goes on very when you start writing with it, I find it very similar to KWZ Beefeater Red, and that is the red ink that is really coming up fast from behind for me. But this then dries a lot more darker red. So I am actually starting to like KWZ Beefeater Red. Unfortunately, KWZ Beefeater Red is a UK pen show exclusive, or London pen show exclusive. So you can really only get it in the UK at UK pen shows, unfortunately. The next pen here inked up is the Ryan Krusac Legend 16 in the Dragon Slayer. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, I do find that this Yovo nibs, medium nibs, I find typically right narrower than what I'm used to as a medium Western nib. But this still writes quite nice. It's a Ryan Krusac, and it's the Legend 16 in the Dragon Slayer. Also, typically, a lot of orange inks typically tend to be a little bit more dry writing. This is a medium, it's a Yovo steel nib. And then the ink in here is Noodler's Apache Sunset. And I still have this ink inked up in the pen. Keep thinking about Dragon's Napalm to put in that pen, but I am still loving the bright orange Noodler's Apache Sunset there. The next pen inked up is a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And this was a nib that I made to write a little bit wetter, because when I received it from Goulet, it did write quite dry. It's quite a nice bouncy nib as well, which I really do appreciate. So this is the Montegrappa extra 1930 shiny lines Dove, and it is a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. I do that properly. That's me with my angle writing, not the actual nib. The next pen inked up is the Bartolomeo Ferracina from Montegrappa, and that's the shiny circles. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Again, a very nice wet writing nib, bit of bounce to it. Maybe not quite as much as the previous nib, but it's not far off, to be honest. It's a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina, and it's the shiny circles. It's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib, and then the ink in here again is Diamine Earl Grey. It's my favourite grey ink, and I do have a few more though that I am liking a little bit more, so I might start to ink some of those pens up with different grey inks. The next pen is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. So we'll do another ink swatch again, and this was a dry writing nib as well when I got it, and I made this write wetter. And sometimes I'm glad I've invested a lot of time myself, not on courses, but watching videos and watching people how they improve a nib. And I started in 2016 really collecting, so 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 6 years now, and I can very nicely tune my own nibs. I've been able to do it probably for about 3 years. So this is the Visconti Last Templar, and it's the Jacques de Molay. It's a medium, and it's a 23 cat Palladian nib. Making a nib write wetter is very easy. The lazy man's approach, which to be honest is what I use, is brass shims. You slide brass, like a thin sheet of brass between the tines of the nib, open them up a little bit. A lot of nib meisters or masters will literally just grab the shoulders of the nib with two fingers and thumbs and try and pull the nib apart. I go the lazy approach with the shims. I find it's a lot easier for me because I don't really have long nails. The ink in here again is unfortunately Diamine Earl Grey, but it is a beautiful grey ink. But you'll see there that it is already a little bit lighter than the other two. And depending on which pen, which nib you put it in, sometimes the ink will show lighter or darker. The next pen here inked up is the Yard-led Grand Viceroy, and this is the Victorian. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, I don't know if you could hear that. You might not be able to hear that, but that was a little bit singing from the nib, and I do find I get singing from this nib. So this is the Yard OLED. It's the Viceroy or Grand Viceroy. I think it's that way round. Grand Viceroy Victorian. Now, strangely enough, I only get the singing on Oxford Optic paper. I don't get it on Temeray River. This is a fine 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Noodler's Habanero. and I do like spicy chilies, and hot chilies. So that is an ink that I do love to have inked up in a pen. The next pen here, again, is another Yada lead Grand Viceroy, and this is in the Barleycorn, or Barley for short. So we'll do another ink swatch here. And this is a very wet writing nib. It's also a very smooth nib. I do find sometimes on some paper, sometimes Oxford Optic paper, normally that it can be a little bit too on the smooth side, may hard start or skip. So this is the Yada lead Grand Viceroy, and it's in the Barley. Now this is a medium 18 cat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Aurora and Klinger, and this is Verdura, which I am very fastly going through. I only have, I think, one bottle of this. I think I thought I had two, but I still don't find the second bottle. So I am going to need to get another bottle of that, I think, at some point soon. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra 1930 in the striped zebra. So we'll do another ink swatch. Now, I typically, coming from a lot more Visconti nibs, I typically find Montegrappa nibs, even though they're number 8 nibs, they write very stiff and rigid. You can occasionally get a Montegrappa nib that writes a little bit bouncy and soft, but I typically find they write a little bit more like akin to a steel nib. So this is a Montegrappa Extra 1930, and it's a striped zebra. And it's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. Now, I say it writes akin to a steel nib, only because a steel nib is normally less bouncy than a gold nib. Normally, you can get some good bouncy gold nibs out there, but these gold nibs typically are quite stiff, I would say. Now, the ink in here is Diamine Grape, which is a beautiful grape coloured ink. I honestly think Diamine should have actually called this Diamine Grape Purple and then done a Diamine Grape Green, because you do get green, you do get purple grapes, and I think they kind of missed out on that one. But maybe because they had so many other green inks, they just didn't need another green grape. So there you go. And then the last pen here inked up this week is, again, it's another Montegrappa Extra, but this is the Otto, and this is in the Pearl Grey. So this is a celluloid, so we'll do an ink swatch on here as well. And you can see here that it's actually quite a nice colour of grey ink there. So this is the Montegrappa Extra 19, actually sorry, it's the Otto, isn't it? I've already said this once. Otto, and it is the Pearl Grey celluloid. And it is a medium 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here, the reason why I went into automatic mode, because I was trying to think what the manufacturer of the ink is called. It's Venvistus, and it's Fumo di Landra, and that is basically Fog of London, or London Fog, which is a beautiful grey ink, also fast becoming one of my favourite greys as well. So I think let's check out these pens inked up one more time. So we have a Visconti Blue Ripple in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Majestic Blue, and that actually does have quite a nice red sheen to it. We have a Visconti St Basil in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Ryan Krusac Legend 16 Dragon Slayer in a medium steel nib inked up with Noodler's Apache Sunset. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Shiny Lines Dove in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina Shiny Circles in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey again. We have a Yarda-led Grand Viceroy in the Victorian in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Noodler's Habanero. We have a Yardo-led Grand Viceroy in the Barley in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Rora and Klinger Verdura. We have a Montegrappa Extra 1930 Striped Zebra in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Grape. And we have a Montegrappa Extra Otto in the Pearl Grey Celluloid in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Vistus Fumo di Landra. So there you have it. That's my currently ink pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye-bye.